Today, we're diving into a topic that's both fascinating and complex: China. Now, I know what you're thinking. Another video about China, but trust me, this isn't your typical overview. We're not just talking about pandas and the Great Wall here, though those are pretty cool too. We're going deep into what truly makes China different from the rest of the world. China, a nation of contradictions, a land where ancient traditions coexist with cutting-edge innovation. It's the world's most populous country, the second largest economy, but China isn't just another big country. It's fundamentally different from the rest of the world in ways that surprise, challenge, and even intimidate outsiders. From its unique political system and technological advancements to its ancient philosophy and global ambitions, China operates on a different playing field. So, buckle up, because we're about to explore the factors that make China such a global outlier. What makes China so unique? And is that difference always a good thing? Let's find out. Okay, let's talk about history, but not just any history. We're talking about a history so long, so vast, that it dwarfs most other nations. While many countries have histories, China has a civilization. We're talking about a continuous history spanning over 5,000 years. Think about that for a second. Empires rose and fell, dynasties came and went, but through it all, a core Chinese identity remained intact. This isn't just about dusty textbooks and ancient artifacts. This historical depth is woven into the fabric of Chinese society. It shapes their cultural pride, their philosophical outlook, even their system of governance in ways that few other nations can truly grasp. Now let's talk about Confucianism. Unlike Western individualism, which emphasizes personal liberty and self-expression, China's culture is deeply rooted in Confucianism. This philosophy, which dates back centuries, emphasizes hierarchy, respect for authority, and above all, collectivism. And this isn't some abstract concept. It plays out in everyday life, from family values and social interactions to business structures and even government policies. The needs of the many often outweigh the needs of the few. It's a fundamentally different way of seeing the world. But, and this is a big but, this emphasis on collectivism can have its downsides. This same mindset that fosters social harmony can also lead to conformity and, in some cases, suppression of individual expression. Imagine the pressure to prioritize the group, whether it's your family, your work, or even the state, over your own personal aspirations. It's a lot to carry. And then there's the education system. It's rigorous, it's competitive, and it can be incredibly demanding, both academically and socially. It's no surprise that burnout is a real concern. All right, let's talk politics and economics, but hold on tight because China likes to blur the lines a bit. See, China is officially a socialist country, but its economy operates more like, well, capitalism on steroids. It's a fascinating paradox. You've got the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, firmly in control of the government, calling the shots, setting the agenda. But here's the twist. Within that framework, you have this incredibly dynamic private sector, businesses thriving, innovating, competing, even becoming global giants. It's this strange mix of political authoritarianism and economic dynamism that often leaves outsiders scratching their heads. Experts call it socialism with Chinese characteristics, but honestly, it's unlike anything else out there. And here's the thing, it works. Or at least it's worked incredibly well for China. In just a few decades, this hybrid system has propelled China from a poor, largely agrarian society to the world's manufacturing powerhouse, the second largest economy on the planet. Think about that for a moment. No other nation in history has lifted hundreds of millions of people out of poverty at such a staggering speed. It's an economic miracle, there's no other way to put it. But, and I'm sure you knew this was coming, there's always a but. This rapid economic rise has come with a cost. And it's a cost that many, both inside and outside China, are increasingly questioning. The government's tight grip on the economy, while arguably a driving force behind its success, also creates uncertainty. Businesses, especially foreign companies, often struggle to navigate the system. Censorship, intellectual property theft, sudden regulatory changes. It can feel like playing a game where the rules constantly change. And let's not forget about the growing income inequality. While hundreds of millions have risen out of poverty, the gap between the haves and the have-nots, especially between urban centers and rural areas, continues to widen. It's a stark reminder that progress doesn't always reach everyone equally. Alright, let's talk tech, because this is where things get really interesting. While Silicon Valley might be synonymous with software and AI research, China is taking a different approach, and it's paying off. They're all about hardware, infrastructure, and digital payments, and they're leaving the rest of the world in the dust. Forget Apple Pay or Google Wallet. In China, mobile payments are so ubiquitous, so ingrained in daily life, that even street vendors will give you a confused look if you try to pay with cash. It's a glimpse into a future that China is already living. And then there's WeChat. Forget Facebook, forget WhatsApp. WeChat is in a league of its own. It's not just an app, it's an entire ecosystem. Messaging, social media, mobile payments, food delivery, ride-hailing. WeChat does it all, and it does it seamlessly. But China's tech dominance isn't just about convenience, it's about ambition. They're investing heavily in cutting-edge technologies like artificial intelligence, 5G networks, and quantum computing, not just to catch up with the West, but to surpass it. However, this technological prowess comes with a dark side: surveillance. China's government has built one of the most sophisticated surveillance systems in the world, using facial recognition, online monitoring, and data tracking on a scale that's both impressive and deeply unsettling. The infamous social credit system, while still in its early stages, has sparked global concern. Imagine a system where your every move, both online and offline, is tracked and evaluated, rewarding or punishing you based on your behavior. It's a chilling thought, and it raises serious questions about privacy and freedom in the digital age. And then there's the internet. China's internet is heavily censored, a walled garden where many of the websites and platforms we take for granted, Google, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, are blocked, replaced by homegrown alternatives. It's a stark reminder that in China, technological advancement often goes hand in hand with government control. Here's something you need to understand about China. They don't just see themselves as a nation, they see themselves as a civilization state, a returning power reclaiming its rightful place on the world stage. And here's the kicker: they're not playing by the West's rules. They're not interested in Western-style democracy or liberal values. Instead, they're forging their own path, economically, politically, and diplomatically, and they're doing it with a confidence that's both impressive and, for some, a little unnerving. Take the Belt and Road Initiative, for example. It's this massive infrastructure project, a modern-day Silk Road connecting countries across Asia, Africa, and Europe through a network of roads, railways, ports, and pipelines. It's a bold, ambitious plan, one that has the potential to reshape global trade and geopolitical alliances for decades to come. And unlike the United States, which often relies on military intervention to achieve its foreign policy goals, China prefers a more subtle approach: economic influence. They're pouring money into developing countries, offering loans, building infrastructure, and forging trade deals. It's a long game, but it's one that's already yielding results. But China's growing global influence hasn't come without criticism. Many countries, particularly in Southeast Asia and Africa, are increasingly wary of China's intentions. They accuse China of engaging in debt trap diplomacy, using loans and infrastructure projects to gain leverage and extract concessions. There are also concerns about labor exploitation, environmental degradation, and a lack of transparency in many of these projects. It's a reminder that China's rise as a global power is not without its complexities and controversies. Now, let's step away from the grand narratives of politics and economics and zoom in on everyday life in China, because it's a world away from what many in the West are used to. Family is everything in China. It's the bedrock of society, the source of identity, and the center of gravity around which everything else revolves. Elders are revered, their wisdom and experience valued above all else. Filial piety, respect for one's parents and ancestors, is deeply ingrained in the culture. And then there's the education system. It's intense, it's competitive, and it's all about achieving academic excellence. Students face immense pressure to succeed, to get into the best schools, to land the best jobs. It's a system that produces some of the highest test scores in the world, but it also takes a toll on mental health and well-being. Even leisure and entertainment in China follow a different rhythm. While Hollywood blockbusters might dominate global cinema, China's film industry operates in its own unique ecosystem, one where government censorship plays a significant role in shaping content. And it's not just movies. Censorship extends to news, literature, music, even casual conversations. Certain topics, like the Tiananmen Square protests or Taiwan's independence, are strictly taboo, and speaking out can have serious consequences. And let's not forget about the work culture. China's infamous 996 work schedule, working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week, is common in many industries, particularly in the tech sector. It's a grueling pace that has led to widespread burnout and criticism of exploitative labor practices. So there you have it. We've just scratched the surface of what makes China such a fascinating and complex country, a place where ancient traditions collide with futuristic technology, where economic dynamism exists alongside political control. So why is China different from the world? It's a mix of history, culture, governance, and ambition. If you found this video insightful, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into global trends and history. Let me know in the comments. What do you think makes China different from the world? Let's discuss.